Here's the first thing you need to understand as an electrical contractor. Hours are not hours. Hours are dollars. That's why you need to schedule hours and track dollars. Let's take a look at an individual task right here. There are 48.64 hours allotted for this task. Our average labor rate is $33.75 per hour. Our allotted hours multiplied by our average labor rate gives us a labor budget of $1,641.60. If we divide our labor budget by the wage of an apprentice, let's say $20 per hour, that apprentice can spend up to 82.08 hours to complete that task and still hit our profit goal. If we divide our labor budget by the wage of a journeyman, that journeyman can only spend 54.72 hours on that task in order to complete profitably. If we combine their wages and divide by their combined average labor rate, together they can work on that task for up to 65.66 hours and complete profitably. Every time your field manager assigns a task, he writes a check that affects your bottom line. Hours are not hours. Hours are dollars. Okay, let's start off by looking at some options your field manager has for creating 2-week rolling schedules and assigning tasks. The first thing that they can do is to group workers as crews. So we need to select the crews that we're going to work, and I'm going to select an apprentice and a journeyman. Now, once the crew members are selected, you notice that your average labor rate is predicted right here. So that tells them immediately if they are staying within the boundaries of their average labor rate and where they are in that range. Although the program can be set to guard employee wage information, it will tell them overall the average labor rate of the crew. So let's just label this for our task, which was a secondary conduit. And once we get that entered in, everything in this program is saved as soon as it gets entered. The reason for that is if you lose an internet connection, you don't ever lose any data. So let me close out of here, and then we'll go into schedules and we'll create a new timesheet. We'll click edit. And this time, instead of selecting individual workers, we're going to click on the crew button and we'll just select that secondary conduit crew. Then we're going to view the schedule. So here are our 2 workers. Now, if I leave this box checked right here, when I assign work to one worker, it's automatically going to assign it to the other one. That's a time-saving feature. For the moment, I'm going to go ahead and disable that. So we'll select our underground feeders and our secondary conduit. And you can see that it's already done the math. This is the same math we predicted previously, okay, for a apprentice electrician earning $20 an hour, 82.08 hours. And when I assign the same task to the second worker, which is a journeyman, I set his hourly wage at $30 an hour. It automatically adjusts for their average labor rate. So the program is doing the math for you. It's averaging their average labor rate, dividing the wage by the task budget to predict how many hours they have to complete the work. Okay, let me just close these out real quick. I'll check this box right here. Then you can see that when I select underground feeders and the secondary conduit, it automatically assigns both tasks to each worker. So if you have 10 workers on a crew that are all working on the same thing, It's going to flow the hours into all of them. It's going to average the labor rate. It's going to do the math, subtracting their average labor rate from the task budget to predict hours. Once you do that, you can click Populate Data, and it'll assign the hours to them to tell them how many hours they have to work on those tasks. So we've really taken all of the math work out of the equation for you. The program does it for you. All your field manager needs to do is assign the task, pay attention to their average labor rate as they build their crews, and things just magically happen.